Good evening, and welcome to another edition of your Gersnet Podcast, the independent Rangers podcast by fans for fans, where all the content is absolutely free, coming to you in association with Forrest Precision Engineering. I'm going to be your host tonight, Rob Fawcett, and looking forward to discussing the latest news on and off the field with my guests. But before I introduce them, I would encourage you to visit the Gersnet website. Not only do we have our main website with a regular stream of quality articles, an online museum, but our popular forums, which are a great place to keep up to date with the latest Rangers news and discussion. We're also live tonight on the YouTube channel, and would ask that you continue to share the pod on social media, spread the word, and please subscribe to the channel, as well as stop by the forums and join in the discussion there too. Now, before I get on to my guests, I need to give another mention to our partners over at Forrest Precision Engineering. They're a Glasgow-based engineering company who have been a big commercial supporter of Rangers for a number of years, and we are delighted to have them supporting the pod. If you want more information about them, please visit their website at www.forestprecisioneng.com. They also have a stunning executive lounge in the Ibrox main stand, and for more information on that, email the club at hospitality@rangers.co.uk. Right, now to bring in my guest, joining me tonight is Alan Rogers. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Rob, yourself?
I'm good. Struggling a wee bit with a man flu and the cold, but you know, a Rangers win helps us get through things.
So are you saying if we'd lost today, you'd have cried off with man flu? Is that what you're telling us?
No, I'd have just been a bit more of a grumpy bugger. That's it. Also joining us is Grant Mackay. Grant, how's things with you, pal?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. 3 points today, clean sheet. So just had a curry as well, so can't beat that for a Sunday. All happy over here.
Thank God we're not in the same room, mate. I think there might have been a bit of smell-o-vision going on there then. So obviously a good win at Dundee United today. But before we get into the football, I think it's important to acknowledge the news coming out of the club over the weekend. Obviously, you know, John Bennett having to take a bit of a step back due to health reasons, and I think we've got to separate, you know, the human being from the chairman at the moment, because you know, health and family are the most important things in life. So on behalf of myself and everybody at Gersnet, you know, I think we probably all want to send our best wishes to John and family, and hope that he gets a speedy recovery. Regardless of what we think about things at the club, you know, we want to make sure that Rangers supporters are safe and healthy and happy, and hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. But as we turn to that, it does put us in a bit of an interesting position, and I think it's something I'll probably come to you on, Alan. You know, obviously it leaves us with no chairman, no CEO, and I think a large majority, I would say, of the fan base now wondering if we've got any direction off the park. You know, how do we steady the ship in the boardroom, and is there anybody within the club, do you think, that could make that step up, or do you think that we're looking for fresh impetus coming in at that level?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult spot to be in. I mean, obviously, I completely align myself with what you said as regards, you know, health comes first. You know, no job is worth your health. So if John Bennett needs to take a step back, it's absolutely correct that he does that. But you're right when you say it leaves us in a difficult spot, because we've got these senior positions at the club, and given the way the club is at the moment, we really need these positions filled ASAP. You know, we've now got John Gilligan coming in, who, again, I think we all know he's a safe pair of hands. We know we can trust him. But I think what we really need is fresh blood. You know, in an ideal world, I think we would get someone in to take up that senior position that doesn't necessarily need to be a Rangers fan, in my view, but somebody with experience in the football field, somebody with experience and track record of growing a club in that sense, someone that can come in and just take a fresh look at things. Because I think we've been very lucky since 2012. You know, we've had a lot of guys coming in, wealthy Rangers fans coming in, putting their money in, running it. They've done well. They've done other things not so well. But I just think the timing is right, that we get someone in that can just take a completely fresh look at everything top to bottom and just try and see where we're going wrong. Because at the moment we are going wrong. You know, we can't dispute that. As you say, we've got no director of football. I don't think we've got a head of academy yet either. You know, so there's really senior positions that need filled. And I think we should be, you know, casting the net quite wide to try and get those positions filled. Obviously, with the suggestion that the St Mirren vice chairman might be in the mix and things like that. And again, he's a blue nose. I'm sure he's a good guy, but it grates a little bit that you've got these positions you're trying to fill, and you come up with a guy that just sort of works down the road that you know. You know what I mean? I just think there's an opportunity there to go out and get somebody that can really sort of take the club by the balls and sort of push us into the 21st century. And ideally, that's what I would like to happen. Whether it goes that way or not, who knows? But I mean, I think in an ideal world, that's the route we should go down.
I think it's an interesting one about the emotional connection to the club, you know, and being a fan, because sometimes that probably blinds us. And I guess, Grant, it's probably a good segue into asking you this next question. You know, are those roles critical to the success of our football club? Or do we as a fan base put too much on them? You know, should it just be about the manager and the players that are on the pitch delivering our success? Or do you actually need that structure behind or above the manager and the team to deliver success on the pitch?
Well, it's a good question, Rob. I think it may be a bit of both. Right now, it feels like the teachers off and the supply teachers in, doesn't it, really? No, I think it does get highlighted a lot more when you're not winning in the park, doesn't it? If you're winning in the park, it's not really a big talking point, but we definitely need leadership in there. We need guys to drive these standards and, you know, look at off-field results and that kind of stuff. The place has been mismanaged, let's be honest. It's been mismanaged for the last, 10, 12 years. And yeah, as Alan said, it is good having Rangers fans, blue noses in there, but you still need guys with a bit of business sense as well to look after the money, you know, make sure the place has been run efficiently and managed properly. So they are definitely roles needing filled. It's not just down to the manager and the players. It's definitely you need to have a structure. You look at all the big clubs around the world just now, like Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona. They've all got that structure, you know, between the boardroom level and the manager. We definitely need to fill these roles. And Alan says as well, you know, the guy down the road at St Mirren, yeah, he's got a bit of experience, but this is a big job. You can't just jump as from assistant at St Mirren to Rangers like that. You need somebody better with a better track record. So yeah, we need that leadership. We need a new CEO as well. I actually forgot about the head of the academy. So yeah, we're missing a lot of roles here, and we really need to start pulling in the right direction. Because I mean, if you get that structure right, things start to fall into place. You get success in the park. You've got a director of football. You're getting the recruitment right. It all just seems to fit into place. And if you look at all the big clubs, as I said, that have got that stability, they're successful in the park as well. So yeah, we need to get them filled as quick as possible. And yeah, as Alan said, John Gilligan is a good pair of hands. He's been there before and done it, and he's obviously run big corporates outside of football. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it's definitely John Bennett. Sending my best wishes to him and his family, and a speedy recovery, hopefully.
Yeah, and thinking about that, actually, I'd forgot about the head of academy as well. And that's the one thing that we've really got to get right as a club. You know, bringing youth players through, selling them for a profit is going to be how the club becomes financially sustainable. And ultimately that will help, I guess, Clement and whoever is the manager in the future, you know, buy better quality or at least bring better quality in. So very good points there about getting that bit.
Sorry to interrupt, Rob, but just on that thought, you know, we've got a B team there. You know, we've signed someone like Inciala coming from AC Milan's academy. He's now coming in. He's basically playing in our B team. But I think I'm right in saying our B team don't really have a league to play in. You know, they're playing kind of organised friendlies and stuff like that. You know, that is just no way to bring through your youth players. You know, and I know we'll come to him, but you see someone like Igaman coming on today, there's a wee bit of excitement around him. You know, because he's coming in, he's new, we don't really know what he's about. He's kind of showing up well. You know, the fans like to see these younger players introduced, but you need that foundation to get them ready for the first team. And until we get someone in that can actually organise the B team and get that aspect of the club sorted, we're always going to be treading water there. You know, so again, it just feeds into this overall malaise at the club, just having these vacant positions for month after month after month, and things just getting allowed to drift. You know, so it's something that needs to be arrested pretty soon, I would say. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, actually, mate, it's a good segue into starting to look at the game, and I guess the first thing that we'll start off with is the latest edition of Clement's lineup bingo, because I think it's becoming ever more difficult to predict who's going to be in the team and what position they're going to be playing. And I think pre-match the starting 11 started a lot of debate. Certainly from my own point of view, I was really disappointed with it. You know, again, I wanted to see Bajrami starting. I don't know where the hell Dowell came from. Obviously, it then transpired it sounds like McCausland had a bit of a knock. But I guess, Alan, what were your initial thoughts on that lineup when it came out? You know, is it a case of we got the win and we should just stop questioning the selection? Or do we have a right to still air our concerns when we see stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've still got a right to air our concerns. You know, as soon as I saw that lineup, which nobody saw coming, nobody saw Dowell coming in from the cold. I was straight. I think, right, I'm going to have to take something to get me through this game. But all I had in the house was a Lemsip, so I quaffed a quick Lemsip. You know what I mean? That's about as hardcore as I get these days. So as soon as we saw it, we just thought we could be in for a really tough afternoon. Tannadice, a difficult venue, struggled there historically at times in the past. As you say, players out of position, players in and out the cold. Again, it's one of these things that, you're bringing in Barami and you just think, the fans are keen to see him. It's a wee bit of excitement. It's kind of, what's he going to bring? They'll be behind him. They'll be fully supporting him. And there's a bit of a tense relationship with some other players. So, just put him in and he'll get the benefit of the doubt and see what he can do. So it was a worry to see the lineup. There's no point, pretending it wasn't. Everybody, when it was Twitter, on my group chats, on the Gersnet forums, everyone was going, what was this? Everybody was saying, what is this? And we've been there before. It's not like Clement doesn't have a wee bit of a history of coming up with a starting 11 that has everybody raising their eyebrows. So just because we won, obviously the points are the most important thing, of course they are, but we still need to look at that team and see where it needs to improve. And Kieran Dowell right wing for me is just not a long-term solution.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the positions that I didn't think I'd ever see Kieran Dowell play for us, that's for sure. And I guess on the Bajrami, Barami, whatever we're going to call him, I'll get the pronunciation right one time. It's a common theme we've seen for the manager, which is beginning to frustrate me a little bit, which is the reluctance to throw new signings straight in. We've seen other clubs sign players and throw them in straight away, and they seem to be getting results. But is this his way of protecting players, Grant, or is it just a sign that he's just a really cautious manager that doesn't like to take a risk with a new player?
I'd love to know the answer, Rob, because it's driving me insane as well. I mean, protecting him from what? Like, I don't know what he's trying to protect him from. We're struggling. We've got 7 points out of 12. We're going to Tannadice. They're ahead of us. You stick in your best players. We've just spent £4 million on this guy, and he's just came off to play 2 international games. And Kieran Dowell's kicked the ball all season, and it just baffles me. It really baffles me. I don't know. I just don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's over caution. He uses some strange language. He doesn't know his teammates' names and stuff like that. I'm like, well, how come he knew them in the second half? It baffles me sometimes, mate. It happened with Cherny when he came in. It happened with Proper, and now Bajrami as well. And we've not even seen Casemiro or whatever his name is. Yeah, it's mental. And you look across the leagues at other teams, and they're throwing their players straight in. A couple of them have actually scored now. It baffles me, mate. It really does. Hearts signed a player the first game of the season on the morning, and he actually played against us. I don't understand what he's trying to do and what he's protecting him for. And I know it's been a lot of debate on social media about it, but I don't understand it. But hopefully that's the end of it now. We've got our squad and the transfer window shut. So it was a good showing today. 45 minutes from Bajrami. So hopefully that's the end of it. But we'll wait and see.
Well, sticking with that theme, mate. Actually, so the start of the game, I was actually surprised at how well we started given the lineup. I think for the first 25, 30 minutes, there was a lot of really good play. Got the early goal, pressed well, put United under a load of pressure. What were your thoughts on how we started?
Yeah, exactly the same, mate. First 10 minutes were right at it. It was the same actually at Celtic Park, bang at it. Pressing high, playing quick balls. We had so much space down the left-hand side with Jeffy and Cortez. I seen a stat came up actually. Jeffy had put in 6 crosses within 12 minutes or something like that. Ridiculous. But it just showed you how much joy they were getting down the line. And it was kind of obvious. I mean, they had 3 at the back, 3-4-3, so they were going to get joy down that side. So it was a great first 10 minutes. We got the goal. We won the ball in the middle of the park. Cortez into Dessers, and great layoff. Can't believe I'm saying that. Great layoff from Dessers into Lawrence. And again, he runs through and takes, what a great finish, chip it over the keeper. And we know that's what we want to see from Tom Lawrence, don't we? I mean, we know he's got it in him, we know he scores goals, but he just doesn't do it enough. So, yeah, it was good to see. Good goal. Dowell as well, playing the right wing. He was tucking in a good bit, to be fair. And Tavernier was getting the space to go up and down the right-hand side, which we see him doing. So he got a couple of crosses in as well. But we were, first 30, 35 minutes, we were excellent, passing the ball about, 1-2s away from them. And so much so that they had to actually sub one of their guys off and change their formation, because they knew fine well they were going to get hammered in the middle of the park. There were a man down in there and they were getting done down the side. So, yeah, really good. But then as soon as they changed it, what do? We go back into our usual, and we're struggling to get a foothold in the game again, struggle to get the ball off them, and they actually came into a wee bit more. We didn't really do much with it, to be honest with you. I saw that their XG was 0. I can't believe I'm using XG, but it was 0 at half time. So they didn't do anything with it. But yeah, good overall first half. We defended well as well. So going 1-0 in was fine, but you're always worried at the 1-0 stage, aren't you? But we got in at 1-0 and it was time to see our new £4 million man in the second half.
Absolutely, and that brings me on to the point. I mean, I think from my own personal point of view, I was really happy with that kind of first 80 minutes. I think the crispness of the passing was there. Tav actually was looking pretty dangerous on that right hand side, as you say. Hefty is turning into a really strong performer within the team, and then you've got the usual from the likes of Barron and Cortez and Diamandi. I thought did well in parts today, but we'll maybe have a wee talk about that later. I guess, Alan, things did change, like Grant mentioned, when United tweaked their shape a little bit. And this is one of the things that I wouldn't say frustrated me, but, I kind of wondered why we didn't do anything to try and then combat that ourselves, because it was very clear at that point that we weren't cutting them open as easy. Is there an opportunity for the manager maybe to change the way we're playing at that point to kind of combat the tweak that United have made to go and get that second goal? Because it was pretty nervy towards the middle of the end of that game, even though United didn't really create many clear-cut chances. But it's just another little sign of caution, I guess, from the manager that he didn't tweak it to go for United's throat once they'd made that change.
Yeah, I mean, managers need to react to in-game moments, and Jim Goodwin, again, I'm not saying he's a particularly brilliant manager, but he saw where his team were struggling and made the change. And that's a bold move, because I think, as Grant said, Dowell and Cortez were actually, certainly in the first 30 minutes, they kind of looked to me that were playing sort of slightly almost one in. They're playing a bit more central than traditional winners would. And Yefty and Tab were actually quite high up. And we're getting a lot of joy in that sense. So, Goodwin's looked at it, he's changed it, he's put extra man in the midfield. Barron had a great first 30 minutes. He was passing between the lines. He was really bold with his passing, and it was opening up in lots of spaces. But after that change, he got on top of Barron and just kind of just faded out of it a wee bit. And it's just disappointing that Rangers didn't really react to that. And I think that's an inherent weakness in the 4-2-3-1. Playing with the 10, because Lawrence, although he scored the goal, and again, he's in an attacking sense, he could be useful, but he's not a guy that's going to track back and sort of drop deep and keep it tight in midfield. And Barron and Diamandi are having to do a hell of a lot of running in the midfield. It's always 3 against 2, if not 4 against 2 with them in there, and I think that's where we lose the grip on games. So I'd just like the manager to be a wee bit more reactive to that kind of thing. And yes, it'll be a bit more pragmatic, a bit less attacking, maybe a bit less kind of sexy, but you just need to react to how the game develops. And as you say, towards the end of the first half, we've got that scar tissue. You just think of that creeping dread. Think, oh, Jesus Christ, they're going to get something here. They're going to sling a ball in, and it's just going to bundle in. Or, Butland's going to be messing around, passing it inside his own box, and they're going to scramble something in. You just get that sort of dread that something like that's coming, and a manager needs to react to that. So it was, I thought, slightly worrying that we didn't and just kept trying to do what we were doing, because after 30 minutes, although we weren't particularly panicked, we didn't have real control of the game, and there were large spells where Dundee United had possession, and just when you lose control like that, again, I think it's important that you just readjust, and half time would have been the perfect time to do that, but we didn't seem to react.
See, just on that, Alan, as well, the manager has to change it, but the players have also got to take it in their head as well. I mean, Barron should be saying, Lawrence, come sit in for 5 minutes to get a grip of this game again. So it's on to the players as well. It's not just the manager. They should know better. Come sit in, just give it 5 minutes. So it's up to the players and the management to get that message across. Just sit in tight, 10 minutes, get back in the game again. So, yeah, it's down to both of them for me.
Yeah, players must know when they fall out of a game. You know what I mean? They must know I've not had a touch in a while, or everything's just gone by me. So you'd like to think the team are wise enough to rejig on field. But again, if the manager gets them in at half time, gives them a bollocking and tells them, then they should react to that. But at the moment, this Rangers side's just a wee. It is lacking in confidence. You can see that, and I think that was played out a little bit after 30 minutes today.
Yeah, I think the other thing actually, but you've just sparked in my head, is that comments that Clement made about leadership groups as well. Obviously, he's looking for Barron to step up a little bit to be part of that, but it does strike me that we're probably lacking that in the team at the moment. You know, we don't have many people that will grab the others by the scruff of the neck to tell them what to do and to get them performing. Might well be just because they're a new group, but you really want to see that from a few of the players, that they start organising themselves and like you said, Grant, they adjust to what's happening within the game and make demands of the other players to fill a gap or sit in a different position just for 5 or 10 minutes to kind of settle things down a little bit. I think the Lawrence comment's quite interesting because it'll be interesting long term to see where Bajrami fits in, because if he's going to be the 10, there was evidence in that second half where he did a lot more chasing back at that left wing position. So it looks like he's going to work pretty hard defensively, but it does present us with some complications that against better teams, that if they tweak the approach that they're taking and we don't have an answer, you know, that's a little bit concerning for me moving forward, I guess.
Yeah, I think just to jump in, you know, the setup of the team is not great. You know, despite the winning today, the setup has been wrong for a while. You know, teams are passing through our midfield far too easily. Even games we won, you know, the Ross County game, we won 6-0 in the end, but at 0-0, you know, Ross County got right through and goal. You know, Motherwell, the first game of the season, Lennon Miller got right through and goal, and he should have scored it. You know, and you saw at Parkhead, you know, one pass basically splitting our whole midfield. You know, the setup just isn't right, and then they need to be more compact. And of course, we go back to the days of Davis and Jack and Kamara, and sometimes we didn't have enough creativity because of that sort of solid midfield three. But we need to get the balance right, because at the moment it's just not there. And we need to just get back to basics, I think, and just grab possession in the middle of the park, because we're far too easy to get through. Dundee United didn't really do it today. I mean, I don't think they had the quality, if we're honest. But there was still that point whereby the midfield was just bypassed far too much. And in the better games and the tougher games, I mean, okay, we shouldn't be looking ahead, but, you know, we've got Spurs coming up. You know, if we set up that way against Spurs, that's going to be a difficult night. So we've got time to sort it, but we need to try and sort it, because if Dundee United and Ross County can pass through our midfield, you know, better teams will as well. And we need to be on top of that.
I just wait to see Kieran Dill starting that game. I guess
I'm quite keen to see Robin Proper marking Son, if I'm honest.
That's a whole different pod, mate. We'll cover that. We'll cover that a little bit later. I guess it brings us on to something else, which is, you know, big moments in games can change them. And there was one just before half time. Adebayoga very late tackle on Conor Barron. Now, Robertson, as a referee, has sent off a Rangers player for treading on somebody's toe. You know, I think it was him that sent off Dujon Sterling last year. I think it was against Aberdeen. Now, was Adebayoga lucky not to see red, or do you think yellow was the right decision, Grant? I'll come to you as our resident hatchet man.
Well, again, this is going to split opinions. At the time when I first saw it, I thought there's not much in that. Then you see it slowed down. Again, everything looks worse when you slow it down. Yeah, the guy's late. Aye. But yeah, and you need to look at the three factors. Is it reckless? For me, not really. No, he's late. Endangering an opponent? Not really. Again, he's got him in the toe. He's not going to do much damage there. He's out of control. Not for me. So I thought the yellow card was fine at the time. I've taken an absolute down on social media for it. But I actually tweeted the boys at Behind the Whistle before I came on here, actually, just to see what their thoughts are, because they're normally quite good. And they were recording today, so I went on and had a look at their podcast, and they have sat in the fence. They've said it could be an orange card, we'll call it, down to interpretation. So they've said that some ref might give it, some might not. So where's the consistency in that was my next question. But yeah, for me, it was a yellow. On that Sterling point, they did bring this up. The independent VAR review panel said that Sterling should have been sent off. So maybe that covers that. But funny enough, it was the same ref today and the same man on VAR that gave that one. So yeah, so it was the correct decision. If he caught him slightly higher, it's a red card all day long. But for me, it was a correct decision. I play football myself. If I did that tackle, I don't want to sent off. I don't want my opponent sent off. Well, maybe I do actually, but no, I'm not having it now. Yellow card for me, mate. I don't know what your thoughts on it are.
No, to be honest, real time. I thought it looked bad. I saw it back a little bit. I would have been raging if it had been given a red card. I think I'll give Robertson the benefit of the doubt on that one because, as you say, if it's the same team, they've maybe learnt from that issue with Sterling where they sent him off and they shouldn't have sent him off. I think the problem always comes back that it seems to be easier to give a decision if the jersey's blue than if it's any other colour. And we'll stick that one down. I don't want to go too much into Don Robertson because I've got a wee section dedicated to him a little bit later on in his performance. So
I don't think Alan agrees here, by the way.
Where would you think
Alan agrees with us?
Are you a red?
It's one of these things that, if I'm looking at it as take the emotion out of it. If I'm honest, I don't think that's a red card. Yeah. It's definitely a yellow, right? It's a clear yellow. He's caught him on the top of the foot. That's a yellow card, right? I think that's fine. Where I have difficulty was is exactly as you say. In VAR times in the season gone past, that's been a red. So if the precedent is now set that tackles like that are not a red card, that's absolutely fine. So that's what we want. We want consistency from referees. So the next time a Rangers player does that, it should be, well, that's a yellow and that's fine. So the challenge now for referees is to, moving forward this season, apply the same standards, no matter the colour of the jersey, no matter the crowd that's screaming at you, all this stuff. Just make sure that now that is a yellow and it's not a red. Because I think that probably would have been a red last season, with that kind of out of control. And at halftime on the Sky Sports coverage, Boyd actually brought up a reasonable point. There was a guy sent off for St Johnstone yesterday at Easter Road. And he did lunge in, but he made no contact. And he got a red for it. And Boyd's basically saying, well, that's nowhere near as bad as what the Dundee United boy did today. So even within the same weekend, the same round of fixtures, the referees aren't being consistent. And as soon as you're not consistent, the referees are always going to be questioned, and rightly so. So, that's a very long-winded way of saying I thought it was a yellow, but next weekend that same thing could be a red, and that's the kind of stuff we need to sort out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think consistency is the key there. I think from our perspective, I would probably put today down as a solid defensive performance. Obviously, it was a clean sheet for the team. United, although didn't really create any clear-cut chances during the game. Was that a sign that our defensive unit played well, or do we still have things to be concerned about, Alan, from a defensive point of view? Because that's been the thing that's let us down in the second half of Clement Brain. If you split the games 50-50, I think there was a stat on Sky to show that it's really the number of goals conceded that has massively increased, and that therefore has had to drop off in results.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, I'm massively concerned about the defence. I look at it and it just doesn't inspire confidence whatsoever. I'd give Yefte a pass. He's a young boy. He's in his second season of pro football. I actually think defensively he's been okay in the league. So he's still learning and things like that. Again, Tav, we know his issues. Again, he's lost a yard of pace. He's still trying to attack. It leaves us exposed at the back. He doesn't have Ryan Jack covering for him. It's a problem. That gap between Tav and Suter is a huge problem because Suter doesn't have the mobility to go over and cover. And I'm not sure he's having the best season either. Proper, again, if I'm honest, I think he's several levels below Connor Goldson. I don't see the logic in selling Goldson for $1 million and signing Proper for $2 million when they're the same age. I don't get that at all. I think it's a stopgap signing. A new coach should come in and had worked with Proper before, and he knew the contract clause. I think it's a wee bit of a kind of, we'll take him then. I don't think he was on any scouting list. I mean, no harm to him. I'm not trying to be overly harsh on him, but he just doesn't inspire confidence. And I think the defence is a real issue because as much as Butland didn't have a save to make today, there were points whereby there was balls flashed across. We weren't stopping crosses. Again, Butland passing out to the centre halves, passing to the full back to the centre. I mean, it's just it just doesn't get us there. I don't think. When last time we won the league, it was built on literally a British record-breaking defence. And that was the foundation of it. We need to get back to that sort of level of defending. Even when Clement first came in, Goldson and Balogun played the majority of the games, and the defence was good. It was solid and it looked confident. But since then, we just don't have that. We've just lost that a little bit. I do think a lot of that plays into the fact we don't have a defensive midfielder or a natural defensive midfielder. Barron's been doing well enough there, doing his best, but it's not his natural position. And we need that additional cover for the centre halves. You saw it really badly exposed at Parkhead. And again, we've got big games coming up, tricky games against better teams than Dundee United, and I think they'll fancy themselves against this defence. So it needs to get better and it needs to be quick, because I don't think that is not a league-winning defence. I've got to be honest.
I know there is a few area concerns for me as well, and to be honest, Butland, hasn't exactly covered himself in glory for a wee while either. So, the foundations of the team are kind of a little bit shaky at the moment. But hopefully as they begin to get to know each other and they know each other's names, then it'll maybe make a bit of an improvement in the performance from that point of view. We'll switch to the other end.
To be honest, Rab, if folk can't remember Robin and John, there's definitely something going on here.
That's it. And Soapy and Proper.
And James. I mean, come
exactly.
on. So yeah, you're right though, because defences do take time to gel. Obviously, of course, that's right. You need to know how each other play and communication and all that kind of stuff. I do get it, but you also need to just need to inspire with your own performances. Proper is just this kind of centre half, kind of modern centre half I just don't like, where it's kind of his use of the ball's really good, and I'm sort of going, well, to be honest, just give me a Marvin Andrews. Do you know what I mean? Just give me a Rose Ed guy. If you can't pass it, you can't pass it, but just defend. That's, I think, what works in Scotland. And again, I think Proper's use of the ball is all right, but he just looks like a guy that's just a wee bit not suited to this league. If I'm on, again, by all means, clip this, and if he goes back and he's Player of the Year, throw it back at me. I'd be delighted to be wrong, but he just looks like a centre half that doesn't quite fit this league, in my view.
Well, time will tell on that one, mate. I guess we'll flip to the other end of the pitch, to a little segment that I've entitled "The Good, the Bad, the Dessers," because I think this is probably a day to forget for him as usual. I think he did well in parts today. Don't get me wrong; it's not all negative. He did well in the build up to the Lawrence goal. He had an opportunity for himself where he takes too many touches and closes the angle down and gets a timid shot away. The frustration for me though is more that we need him to be strong, but there's so many times that he looks to go down too easily when there's a little bit of a touch. But I guess the question is, and I'll come to you first, Grant, is what do we do about Dessers? Is he too old to improve, or do we as fans just need to accept that he is what he is and get behind him to provide some positivity towards him in the hope that he can keep scoring, at least until January?
Yeah, I know. That's the thing, mate. He can either get good or terrible. He's never in between, is he? I mean, today he gets an assist. He gets an assist for the goal. I know it's still 60 yards out, whatever it was, but he gets an assist. He held the ball up for it, but then the second half, the ball's just bouncing off him everywhere, and the attack breaks down. And how many times have we seen that happening? And the chance as well. I mean, hit it first, second time. He's taking touch, as you said, narrowing the angle, and then kind of rolls it. I mean, just put your laces through it. You're taught, exciting goal, have a shot. But we've seen it time and time again, and it's. I don't think the injury to Danilo's helped either, because he probably wouldn't have got as many minutes as he would. Same with Igamani. I can't remember which one it was that Brian told me to say, but we didn't have anybody else. We had to play him, and he's done as a turn. To be fair, last year he scored 22 goals. He scored maybe 5 or 6 this year, but yeah, his overall hold up. There's a few today that's bouncing off his back, his legs, and all that. It's just you need better than that to be a number 9 for Rangers. But again, he scores goals, so that I don't know what we do. But now, hopefully, with Igamani up to speed, we've got somebody else that can take his place, because he looked a right find when he came on today, didn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say that was one of the plus points, and we'll touch on the youth that we've got in the team. But the chest control, the little touch, the fact he was a bit stronger, he just added a whole different dynamic to what Dessers had done previously in the game, and showed, a great pass to Lawrence that he really probably should have done better on. So absolutely, I think Dessers needs help, and hopefully Igaman will come in, take some of those minutes away from him now, because for me he should start against Dundee.
Igaman did what a centre forward should do. I mean, it's basic stuff. Hold the ball in, bring the ball down, bring your teammates into play. He was brilliant at it. Brilliant.
Absolutely. Alan, what about you, big man? What are you thinking in the old Dessers debate? We're stuck with him until January, so there's nothing we can do about it until then. But
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things. He'll score goals. He'll contribute, which is the thing. He will get you goals. We had optimism at the start of the season. He had a few kind of powerful finishes. And you thought, all right, I'll be coaching him to just try and finish with a bit of a boof. But again, today he only really had one chance, but he was hesitant. And it wasn't the easiest angle. Don't get me wrong. He tried to put it through the keeper's legs, didn't quite make it. But it's fine margins. If he scores that puts us 2-0 up just for half time. And as Grant says, he's got an assist. That's it, a goal and assist for Dessers. Everybody's saying he's had a great game. But, we're bad at killing teams off. So we need to have someone reliable up front that's going to take those chances. Is it Igamani? Well, we don't know yet. It's a bit too early for him as well. But we need someone up top that's going to take those chances. Because Dessers has qualities. My mate Blair absolutely loves Dessers. Constantly saying he's great. He's best player of the team. He's the key number 9. He's what we need. And I say to him, well, I disagree on that. But at least he tries and he contributes and he works hard and he will grab goals. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if Dessers gets another 15, 20 goals this season. But, in those crucial moments, we had it at Parkhead, first 5 minutes, he did well to carve himself the chance and then just doesn't get connection on it and just fluffs his lines. These are the sliding doors moments that change seasons, that change Rangers' careers. You know what I mean? And we just need someone more reliable up front than him. But he's here till January, so he's going to play his fair share. I'm sure he'll score his fair share. But ultimately, we should be looking next January or next summer to think, right, can we invest some money on proven quality up top? Because I think that's now a priority.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think good squad player. I think he's got the right mentality. That he just keeps going regardless of how many chances he misses and how much abuse he gets off the fans. But we should never be in a position where we have to rely on Dessers to be our main number 9. And I think hopefully Igaman and we can get Danilo back to try and take some of that pressure off, and some of our midfield can start to contribute a little bit more. Which brings me on to Tom Lawrence. Again, a name that probably brings a lot of disbelief that he still gets a game in the starting 11, but it's another goal for midfield today for him. I guess, Grant, what did you think of his overall performance? And, I guess moving forward, is he going to be a first teamer for you, or is he more of a squad player?
Well, again, when I saw his name in the team sheet, I was looking for something hard on the Lemsip, as Alan said, but this is the thing. He turns up, scores a goal, and then disappears for 2 or 3 weeks, and then does the same again. Turns up, scores a goal. But we know there's a player in there. He scores goals, but he does it so inconsistently. He gets loads of chances. He had a chance today. He was right through. Puts that away. It's 2-0. It's a job done. He's taking the man of the match trophy up the road. But we just don't see it enough. Once a month we get a decent performance out of him. And we've spoken about it already, the number 10 role. It's a problem in there because it does not have the engine, it doesn't have the legs, the mobility to get up and down, and also help in there when we're struggling in the middle of the park. So, another one he'll get his goals, but he's so inconsistent, he's injury prone. There's questions over his engine as well. So, for me, he's a squad player, but hopefully, Rami or Burge Rami will be in that number 10 role and hopefully contribute more than Tom Lawrence, because he's been here for 2-3 years now, and he's not done much to be honest with you. Yeah, he scored the odd goal from distance and that, but he's been a bit part player, and I think he'll continue to be that because he doesn't have the quality for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and it's a good link in actually, because I think I was really surprised not to see Rami start today. But then in typical Rangers fashion, when he does get on the pitch, we throw him on a position that isn't his preferred position. In favour of keeping Lawrence on in that number 10 role. I guess, Alan, how do you think he played today, given it was 45 minutes, not in his favourite position? Did you see anything from it give us hope?
If I'm honest, I thought it passed him by a wee bit. I just thought he maybe just wasn't quite at the pace of the game. And by the time he came on, United were a bit better and a bit more of the ball and things like that. He had a couple of moments down the left. His link-up play looked all right. But as you say, it's not where he wants to play, and it's not where we bought him to play. So again, it's the cautiousness of the manager, because you put him in, get him and Igamani in the team, and the fans they're desperate to see these guys perform. They'll get that bit of leeway about them. So I definitely want to see him start against Dundee. there's absolutely no excuses not to start him in the number 10 against Dundee, because we're screaming out for a first choice. If he's fit, he plays number 10. As I said earlier on, Lawrence, in and around the opposition box, he can contribute as he did today. He can score, but he doesn't have the injury, he doesn't have the work rate, he doesn't have any kind of nous to track back. And I think I'm right in saying he's out of contract at the end of this season. So you've got to presume that'll be him away at the end of this season. So we need to build for the future. And hopefully Bajrami is the guy that we see as the first choice number 10. But he needs a chance to get in there and prove himself and show he can contribute. He didn't really get that today, given he was stranded out in the right wing. But obviously early days, and we've got to be optimistic.
Yeah, just on that, but we've spent big money on him, so you'd like to think he is going to be the number 10 going forward. Cortez is still coming back from injury, so if Cortez is up to speed, he doesn't go on the left hand side, does he? He plays in the number 10 role, so it's maybe a bit just try to patch up job just now, because the squad is thin in those areas. But he's been bought for number 10. There's no doubt about it. Big money, and that's where he plays for his country. So looking forward to seeing him in there, mate.
Hope so. That kind of takes away the next question I was going to ask you. You segued into that lovely Grant there. Thank you, mate. I guess the last thing I'll cover on the playing side of things today is the fact that there was quite a core of young players in that team today that I thought actually in fits and starts played really, really well. We had Cortez, Diamande, Barron, Scottish Young Player of the Year, Hefty and Igaman, who all showed real signs of promise. I think does that give us hope that we've got a core of young, hungry, talented players to build around Alan?
Yeah, we have to have hope on that, because the young players and the guys that, as you listed there, they're the ones that look to be doing okay. They're the ones performing. It's the senior players at the moment that are the issue. Tab's on the decline, Butland's way off form, Lawrence not performing, Dessers, Shugley Peg. These are the guys where it's really fallen down. And I think that's where Rangers have struggled in the past few years. We've done a few good deals and kind of Bosmans and sort of cut price deals. But see, when it comes to our big budget, spending millions of pounds on players, guys like Lammers and got to say Dessers and things like that, that's where we've fallen down. That's where we've got guys that just aren't up to it. Ben Davies at $4 million. As soon as we've got money to spend, we just don't seem to target the correct players. And that's exactly what this squad needs. We need probably 3 or 4 quality players, guys that are going to cost a good few million, the guys that are, if they're fit, they play. People that can just elevate the level of football that the team plays, because some of the youngsters are doing well, they're enthusiastic, they're working hard, but you always need that quality to take you to the next level. And where we've gone to spend millions of pounds, we've spent it really, really poorly recently. And that'll be the challenge for Clement in January and next summer. Can he find guys? If he's got, I don't know what he'll have, but if he's got 15 million to spend, he needs to find £3-5 million players that are going to elevate the level of quality in the squad. We're building it at the moment. We've got numbers. Now we need to add to the actual football quality that can be delivered. So, very long-winded way of saying some of the young players are impressing me, and I think they're doing well, but they need help. They need help. Playing in Old Firm games, playing in Europe, the young players are going to need that extra hand on the shoulder to guide them through it and to deliver results in games. And a lot of the time, that's going to come from the experienced bodies who are the ones at the moment that are flagging behind.
No, it's a great point, to be honest. I think I've been quite impressed by the group of young players that we've signed, and I think if we continue to complement that with real quality, experienced additions, then you've got the core of a team that could be there for a good 3-4 years and get into that cycle of selling one and replacing them and generating cash flow that way. I
thought it was sorry to jump in, but I watched the press conference with Clement after the game, and he was talking about Igaman, and he actually said, we had to move for him now because in 12 months' time we couldn't have afforded him.
Yeah,
and it's an interesting comment to make, because given that when he came in, he was sort of saying, he's not ready for training yet, and he sort of made this comment, so how is he getting on in training? He's doing some interesting things with the ball, which sounded like a total throwing shade at him, going, what is this guy all about? But, since then he's come into the team, he's impressing us all. And if Clement's saying that, then clearly he must rate him. He must think he's got quite a high ceiling. So that's exactly the type of signing we should be making. Igaman, Yefty, Cortez, guys like that, that can come in and impress straight away and hopefully, as contribute, be successful here and then earn as a wedge when they move on. So it's interesting, that kind of dynamic in the squad at the moment. But these guys need to play. that's the thing. Yefty for me, even if Ridwan was fit, I would just keep Yefty in the team. Because I think he's made that shirt his own. So you need to get these guys playing and give them a chance to impress, a chance to develop, and a chance to progress their careers. And that's why the likes of Cortez and Yefty and Igaman should be starting players, in my view, from now on. Let them get in there and let's see how they get on.
Yeah, and on that one, it was nice of him to finally admit that he was actually injured when he joined the club, because I noticed that wee comment from him as well. I guess out of that group, Grant, who's impressed you the most since the start of the season, apart from obviously Conor Barron, Scottish Young Player of the Year?
Mate, you're going to be doing the rounds later on the year on Twitter, I'm telling you, this video. Well, Barron has been excellent, let's be honest. I didn't expect him to come in and hit the ground running and start, actually, straight away. I thought he's been at Aberdeen, it's going to be a step up at Rangers, but due to circumstances with not having enough players in the middle of the park, he's come in and he's been excellent. He's been one of our best players. Cortez, the jury's still out. He's come back from an injury. A good 45 minutes today. Diomande had a good start to his Rangers career. Scored a couple of good goals, but for me, he just doesn't do enough. He seems to do wee bits and bobs, and then he's in and out of games. And he's obviously a good player, but he's not done enough to justify his price tag. I agree with Alan. I think Jeffy's excellent. I like him going forward. He's got a good engine, great left peg on him, fires the ball across. It's just brilliant to go up and down, couple of crosses in. He's defensively, I've not really seen much of him defensively. I know people keep saying he can't defend. I've not really seen much of him yet. I thought he was better today, and there's a couple of balls in behind. He got back and made the tackle. So yeah, I've liked Igamani. I look forward to him coming on today. He looks strong, as I said. But then there's other players, like guys like Sterling, still young as well. We've got Bajrami's only 25. You've got Raskin, who's only in his 20s. So there is other guys there as well. So I'm glad we're moving away from this English Championship has-beens that are on ridiculous wages and we can't punt them at all. So the transfer strategy is the correct one to go. Go and get these guys young, cheapish, cheap wages, and look to sell them on in a couple of years' time, make them better players, and then start again, cycle again. So yeah, I'm preferring this transfer market. It might take a couple of years, a couple of transfer markets to compete. Fine, we'll have some patience, but we can't just keep doing the same thing, buying these guys in, and they're not giving us value for money, basically, because the wage bill's ridiculous and we're not winning anything. So something had to change, and we've got to give Clement time with these young players because they've been pretty good since they came in.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, and to leave the Dundee United game, focus on what I would probably view as one of the negatives of the day, and it's my favourite subject, which is the wonderful standard of refereeing in Scottish football. Now, I'm going to be pretty harsh on Don Robertson because I thought that was one of the most inept performances I've seen from a referee. He's booked 11 bookings, including our manager. And what was a game that I think only had that one bad tackle? He failed to let play go on numerous times when we had an advantage. And then he just seemed to lose the plot towards the end of the game by handing out bookings willy-nilly. For me, it's just really frustrating that this seems to be the best that Scotland has to offer when it comes to referees, Alan. I don't know what your thoughts are, if I'm being overly critical, but if we want to improve the game, we've got to improve the officiating, surely. That was scandalous today.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with referees has always been there's no real assessment of them as far as the fans can see. No doubt there'll be internal assessment, but back in the day, they used to have this thing whereby if a referee had a really bad performance, the next weekend he's refereeing the championship. Do you know what I mean? Now, they always denied that. They always said, no, that's not how it works. It's all allocations and all that, so we don't do that. But referees need to be accountable for things they get dreadfully wrong. They just do. And I'm not expecting perfection, and it's a difficult job, and I get that. And games are 200 mile an hour in Scotland. I get that as well. But they have to be accountable and reflective on their own performances. And as you say, that game today wasn't a dirty game at all. But Robertson just decided he got out of bed this morning, just decided I'm going to be, happy clappy with the yellow cards. It just didn't merit it whatsoever. Butland's getting booked. Barron get offed, and then Butland's out, running out his goal, and he just flashed. Why is he doing that? There's no need to do that, because any player's going to do that and back up his teammate. There's a wee bit of kind of look at me with Don Robertson. Because we're always going to look at a Rangers perspective, and yes, we all know Don Robertson will not have many Rangers fans in his group chats, right? That's just not his shtick. But so we're always going to look at it from that perspective. But generally speaking, the refereeing standards just need to be better. There's quite a clutch of new referees, I think, this season. Kind of sort of young-looking guys that I don't recognise. Think, who's he? So maybe there's hope for the future if these guys can be trained up in the VAR era. But at the moment, referees have it in them to ruin the game. And I thought Don Robertson was overly fussy today and kind of did contribute towards what was a bit of a poor spectacle of football,
Yeah, and I guess, Grant, before we leave the Dundee United game in our distant memory, one question to you is, we can improve players by training, etc. How the hell do we improve the officiating in this country? VAR is meant to be helping them to get decisions correct and become better. But if anything, they just seem to be getting worse.
Yeah, I think there's only one thing for it, Rob. They need to come out and declare what team they support start of the season. Same down in England. No, I'm kidding on. Yeah, do you know, the thing is, I watch quite a lot of football and I see the officiating down south and across Europe. It's the same. I mean, I've sat and watched the North London derby earlier on. There was something like 9, 10 yellow cards. It's like, I mean, there wasn't a bad tackle in the game either. They're just dishing out yellow cards, gagging to give free kicks. If a player falls over, it's a free kick. I think officiating. Look at the Jeffy red card in Europe, and that's a European referee. So it's happening all over Europe. It's happening down south. I don't know what the answer is. If I knew the answer, mate, I'd be a rich man. I don't know what the answer is. I can't really put my finger on that. It's poor officiating. We're seeing it every single week now. You watch sports scene on the VAR every single weekend. I don't know. They're just card happy all the time. They seem to no talk back anymore. Used to have a rapport with referees, a bit of chit chat. There's nothing like that. It's kind of, I don't know, authoritarian or something like that. I don't know what it is, mate. I really don't. But it's poor. But it's poor all across the board. So I don't think it's just in Scotland.
I think it comes back to that accountability thing that you mentioned, Alan. Ultimately, as a player, you get dropped for the team if you don't perform. And there's got to be a consequence for continually poor performances at an official and at a refereeing level. It's the only way that you're going to learn, and the only way that there's an incentive for you to actually learn. Because if there are no consequences, you turn up to do that on a Saturday or a Sunday. Do you really care if you get a decision wrong, or you go out and dish out 10 cards to players that don't really deserve the bookings? Maybe we need to look at the Betfred and Betfair accounts and stuff just to see how many bookings they're putting on themselves.
Yeah, well, let's just step back from that, Rob. We're not suggesting any impropriety whatsoever on Gersnet. So let's just make that clear. I do not align myself with that point of view.
I was said in jest.
Yeah, if any lawyers need to write to Rab Fawcett, I can provide his address. But, I just think it needs to be that accountability. The worst refereeing decision we've seen this season was from a European ref. The Jeffy red card or the second yellow against Dinamo. Nobody in Planet Football thought that was even a foul, never mind a second yellow. Even on social media, you had the generic kind of, sport Bible accounts and all this retweeting this, saying, look at this horrendous decision. Everybody knew that was wrong apart from that one referee in the middle. And that cost us millions, literally millions, potentially if we'd got through that tie. So, I think there just needs to be a wider recognition that as to how referees account for what is ostensibly dreadful errors of judgment. VAR is supposed to be there to remove that or at least mitigate against it. And it doesn't really seem to be doing that at the moment. And as you say, it might just be because referees just see themselves as, authoritarian or above the law or whatever it may be. But when there's people's jobs at stake, people's livelihoods and millions of pounds, we need to be the best we can be. And at the moment, referees in Scotland are not the best they could be.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And we'll leave that referee debate there for this week anyway, at the very least. Which brings us to the future, I guess. One of the things that we're now stuck with is the squad until January, at the very least, before we can make any additions, I guess. I'll ask you both this. So I'll come to you first, Alan, then I'll come to you, Grant, just for a comment. Where does this leave us with the team? Are we confident that when everybody's back and fully fit, we've got enough there to keep in touch and to try and compete, or do we think we need to dip into the free agency market to still add a bit of experience and a bit of guile in the team?
I think if we were going to go for the free agents, we'd have done it by now. So I don't think we will. Again, if you're bringing in a free agent in the middle of September, say he's not going to be fit, he'll have no pre-season, probably take him 3-4 weeks to get up to speed. And even then, Clement's probably not going to start him, until he knows everybody's names and knows the tea ladies and everyone else. So, I don't think we're going to do it. So we're stuck with this squad that we've got. I think the key for us has to be get the squad as fit as we possibly can, get them settled into a system that they're comfortable in, that they like playing. For that first 25 minutes, 30 minutes today, the players looked like they had a bit between their teeth. They looked like they were out to prove something, and they actually looked like they were enjoying their football. Things were coming off. There was good patterns, some good wing play, link-ups down the sides and things like that. It looked to be working, and we need to get that. We just need to get the team into a rhythm. Now, in fairness to Clement, he hasn't been able to do that because of the level of injuries we've had. Players are in and out, players are getting taken off injured and all this kind of stuff. But now is the time we need to go on a run. The Old Firm game at Ibrox, is it 2nd of January, 2nd or 3rd? I can't quite remember. We cannot go into that game more than 5 points behind. We just can't. And that means we need to go on a run now. Now, is this squad capable of going on that run? I've got my doubts, if I'm honest. But let's be optimistic and say that Clement told us we won't see the best of this team until October. Well, we're 2 weeks shy of October. So let's hope we can pull it together next month and go on a run. We've got tricky games coming up. We've got Hibs, we've got Aberdeen midweek. Tough games. If we can come through those games and deliver 3 points, then maybe the fans will start to believe again. But it's now with the manager and with the players to hammer home that we need to pick up a bit of form and we need to go on a run. Are we capable of it? Yeah, I think we probably are capable. Will we do it? Let's wait and see.
And to just fill us with positivity, Grant, what's your view on that same question set, mate?
I still think the squad's too light, mate. It's too light on numbers and quality to compete in all fronts. We've got 4 competitions. I think the Euro squad highlights that. We're missing spaces. The free market, I'm not too sure. I wouldn't just do it for the sake of it. If they're going to add value, then yeah. But these guys are free agents for a reason at this time of the year. I don't know. Not for the sake of it. I'd have to go and look at the list and see who's there. Is Sergio Ramos still on? I'd take him. But that's probably about it. I think you see when we lost Cortez at the start of the season. We have Matondo in there. The squad's not great for strength and depth. Sterling's been at right mid today. He's been in centre mid. So I still think we're short in position, especially the wide guys. We lose Tierney today, and we've got Kieran Dow out his bed to play in the right. I still think we're short, mate. I think we'll fall short in the league, but can we win a cup? Yeah. Can we go far in Europe? We'll wait and see.
I think the depth is a little bit of concern for me, especially given we've got players that still seem to be picking up the odd injury here and there. Cortez hopefully can get a bit of a run of games now and stay fit. And, McCausland obviously picking up a knock today. He might have been in the right-hand side. But like everything, we just need them to show us the desire and hunger. I think if they start to show that as a team, the fan base will get behind them. It's when we don't see that I guess we get upset. But again, that's a different discussion.
I think we need that. We need something to get behind. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why, I wanted Badrami to play today, because the fans will get behind him because there's no scar tissue, there's no history. They'll be willing him on. Same with Igaman. Suddenly, I can't remember. I mean, I'm building him up for a fall year, and it's not fair, but I can't remember the last time a player had come in and has played 30 minutes tops across 2 games, and suddenly everyone's going, "Oh, this guy's the next Morelos." Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's just because we're crying out for someone to put our hope behind. But he genuinely has shown up well, and he genuinely has looked good. Obviously, someone in the changing room needs to pin him down and shave him, because that moustache won't work for me whatsoever. But, he needs the chance to go in and prove what he can do. And suddenly there's a wee bit of hype behind him, and suddenly we're thinking, hang on, that's why we brought this guy in. And in an area of the pitch where we desperately need something to get behind. I'm just wondering, can he be the guy we put all our eggs in his basket? Is that fair on him? Absolutely not. Yeah. The desperate times call for desperate measures. Yeah, they do. So, absolutely. Basically what I'm saying is I'm backing Hamza Igaman for the Ballon d'Or within the next 5 years, I would say.
Happy days. There you go, Grant. You talk about people getting clipped on this video. Now not going to be me. My prediction of Conor Barron being Scottish Young Player of the Year is insignificant now that Alan's mentioned Ballon d'Or and Igamani in the same
I'll be in a
sentence.
disguise soon to come on next time, by the way.
But it brings us on to the last point of the night, to be honest. And it's, it's important that this is something I think we can all get behind. The fact that we're finally going to be back at bloody Ibrox. We've got Dundee at home in the Cup. We've then got Malmo away, but then we've got 3 home games against Hibs, Lyon and St Johnstone in what's going to be a really busy 2-week period. I guess from my point of view, I'm looking forward to blowing the bloody roof off Ibrox when we get in. I think it's important that we as fans get behind the team when we do get back into the stadium. How do you think we're going to cope with that run, Grant? Do you think that's something that will make this squad, or do you think it will break them?
I'm just looking at the fixtures before I came on. So Dundee at home, Malmo away, Hibs at home, Lyon at home, St Johnstone at home. So, there's going to be a buzz for the players and the fans being back at Ibrox. The new players haven't been at Ibrox either. So, yeah, as Clement said, you'll see the best of the squad in October, November. You're playing every 3 games. You should be tip-top for fitness. So I'm hoping being back at Ibrox, having the fitness, having players back, just playing every 3 games, bit of momentum, start winning games and see where it takes us. It's been a kind of stop-start season so far with the loss at Celtic Park and the 2 weeks break. So, yeah, just bring the games on and see where we go. So, yeah, Dundee at home next in the Cup. We're over 3 different competitions, so we'll see how if the squad's light or not in the next couple of weeks, won't we?
Yeah, Alan, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've probably maybe slightly underplayed how much playing at Hampden has affected the team. Because it does, it does. It's massive disruption, for the team behind the scenes, having to travel, all this kind of stuff. I think it will have affected the team. And as you say, new players coming in and getting the first look at Ibrox. Hopefully the crowd are well up for it. Hopefully there's new faces in the team that we all can get behind, and we can deliver the performance. Because this has to be the catalyst now. Let's get the season kick-started. Do you know what I mean? If we can get past Dundee, then we've got Malmo away. Now, that's a tough game. Last time we were at Malmo, we lost with a better Rangers team than this one. But at the same time, it's got to be a tie that's in the balance. It's got to be a tie that we think we can get something from. And if we can just start picking up some momentum, players get a bit of form in the bank, players get a wee bit of confidence and things like that, that'll just feed the team moving forward. Because then, we've got Hibs coming up, Aberdeen coming up, tricky games coming up. But we need that confidence and we need just a wee bit of swagger in our step at the moment, because I just think we're just struggling a wee bit to get things over the line. And the only way that you're going to get that confidence is by delivering results. So, back at Ibrox, as you say, 3 different competitions, winnable games, in my view, coming up. If we can put those away, then it just breeds that confidence and it just sets us up for the rest of the season. It's, horrendous to lose an Old Firm game, lose at Parkhead, especially in the manner we did. But it's not fatal to the season. We have to remember that losing the first Old Firm game is not fatal. There is a chance to bounce back, but we need to start delivering results and performances quickly.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that. I think at a very minimum, we need to win those 2 home league games, without a doubt. That we can't be passing up points at our home games. The Dundee Cup game will take care of itself, and if we can get 2 to 4 points out of the Malmo and Lyon games, that's a bonus for the start of the Europa League campaign, I think.
It's interesting though, because under Van Bronckhorst in the Champions League, we did brilliantly to qualify. Beating PSV 1-0 away was an outstanding result, but because we just come off Seville, Gio didn't really get the credit he deserved for that. But after that, you saw we didn't strengthen the squad. We then got battered in the Champions League, and it really affected the squad. You could see them just with their heads down a bit, just going, Jesus Christ, and it really affected them. But I think the opposite's true as well. If you can put a bit of momentum together, if you can get results against Malmo and Lyon, it can feed performances domestically, because suddenly these players can believe. The fans will get behind them, the fans will get behind the manager, and it just feeds that momentum. Momentum's huge in sport. It's absolutely huge. You cannot be stop-starting your results. So this is the time where we need to put together a run. The squad's now hopefully getting a bit fitter. We've got our new signings in. Let's get them in the team, and let's see what they can do between now and January.
Brilliant. And hopefully on that note, I've kept things to time. Otherwise, I think I might be looking at my hosting privilege being revoked by Frankie. I want to say a big thank you to both my guests. Alan, thanks very much for the chat, mate. It was great to see you again.
No, I'll see you next Saturday.
Absolutely. Grant, big thanks as well, mate. Really enjoyed it. Hope you did too.
Did, mate. Great debut. Well done.
Thank you. So as well as being live tonight, the show will be available on all podcasting platforms. That's iTunes, Spotify, Acast, Stitcher, etc. Coming up this Friday at 9, we're going to have John and Ross who will be previewing the Cup game v Dundee. And all that's left for me is to say a massive thank you for all those that have been watching live on YouTube, and to anybody that's listening again on the pod. Have a great week, folks, and bye for now.